Welcome to episode 26 of the Inches and Cubes podcast, your Toronto-based Warhammer 40k podcast. Nobody else in the GTA does this. We're all you got. As always, it's me, Point and Click Nick. I wasn't here last week, but I'm back from the dead. We got
Paul, Mr. Fist Fowler.
And joining us today for the first time, a very special guest.
Hi, I'm James.
He's our special friend.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
I just realized you can't wave at a microphone.
So we're back. It's good to be back. We're back recording in the basement of Nick. We've also got another special guest. There's a cat sitting in Paul's lap right now.
Greggy!
Very nice cat. He's got no teeth, but he's an adorable cat.
Yeah.
This is why Adam's not here, because Adam is allergic to cats. No, I'm kidding. Adam is on a mission to the deep south.
He definitely did not turn into a cat, that's for sure.
So today we've got a fun topic for you. We're going to talk about alternate ways to play Warhammer 40k. Lots of different iterations of the game, lots of different rule sets, fun things we can do.
James won't stop petting the cat that's in my lap.
I just like petting your lap.
I know, and it's making me super happy.
Yeah.
I just wanted to get that on camera.
Hey, no problem, buddy.
So James, it's your first time on the podcast. You have to give us a little bit of an introduction to yourself. Why are you here? What makes you special? And what's your history with the hobby?
Right, so a lot of specialists and a lot of tests have made me special. But yeah, so I actually started back in 2nd edition. But it was starting in 2nd edition when I didn't actually know the rules or anything. So I got a bunch of Tyrion second hands, had no idea how to do anything with them. Yeah, and then I played a bunch of 4th edition, played no 5th edition, and came back in 6th edition, where Nick and I met on the internet. It was magical.
That's right. James and I met on the internet.
Yeah.
Cool. What armies do you play?
Well, right now I play orcs, and I'm a recovering Tau player.
Yeah, no one's perfect.
You know. Yeah, they were good back and forth. They weren't good back and forth.
Don't whisper on the mic.
Oh,
That's my joke.
fine. They were good back and forth. They weren't good back and forth.
So James, because he's a really modest guy, he'll never say this and toot his own horn, but he has one of the most gloriously converted orc armies out there.
Every model is converted.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
So you've got Meganobs, which are Wraithguard with Grots piloting them.
They're Wraithguard in Grey Knight Terminator armor specifically, but yeah.
Yes, Wraithguard wearing Grey Knight Terminator armor.
What?
I know, right?
One of your Wartrack Scorchas is actually Logan Grimnar's sleigh with gas tanks on the boars instead of the wolves that are towing the sleigh.
Yeah, he totally lent it to us, though. It's not stolen. It's on loan permanently.
I'm so glad that you took that model, because I hate that model.
It's actually the best way to run that model, ironically.
Yeah. Well, because like we've discussed this, he's awful in 8th.
It's an ugly model, too.
Yeah.
It looks great as an orc model, though. That's the weird part. Yeah.
Well, you swap the wolves out for some boars.
Yeah. Get an orc up there.
Here, Greggy, go over on Jamesy's lap.
Add some wooden plates on it. It's great.
It's great. Wooden plates. As always, we're going to do our little bit of a hobby desk section. So, James, what have you been working on?
So, I played against Dave.
desk.
Oh, right. Yeah, no, because of playing against Lord of Skulls, I'm converting up a Stompa right now. So that's taken forever.
What are you building it out of?
Stompa. I really like the Stompa model, but
Okay.
also...
Like, you understand why that's...
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, no, it's Stompa and also a knight. Happy?
Thank you.
Okay.
And a Gorkanaut.
And parts of a Gundam.
See, I knew if I...
Yeah, just keep
This is like
taking
a scratch-off ticket, but, like, more stuff... Oh.
Well, no,
So I got a special treat today. You know what I love about Toronto is that, like, sometimes I'm like, we've been doing this for 26 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to run out of craft beer.
No,
we're not. So this is the Forgotten Lake Blueberry Ale. Hidden in the Lake of the Woods region on a small back lake, there exists patches of berries, usually reserved for the most discerning palates of black bears. That's a weird sentence. This beer is subtle with a clear fruity nose, muted blueberry, low bitterness, and medium body. Although high in ABV, it's 7%, its finish is smooth and well balanced.
Nice.
Just like you.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I've been working on the Stompa. I've actually also been working on wedding stuff, but that's not a hobby.
I would never call that blueberry, but
It's got a hint.
exposed by.
I always wanted to see you play a game where you just talk in a Newfoundland accent for the entire time.
I mean, you give me like 3 or 4 beers.
It'd be so entertaining. Like,
It happens.
yeah, these guys got a 4 up, eh?
Oh, we don't say "hey, get out of here."
Sorry.
But yeah, what else? What else you working on that old painting desk?
I got all that MDF terrain that was a drunken purchase at 2 a.m. and I've just been like slowly working through it with a rattle can.
Yeah, I saw you building that, and it's just so sprawling.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's just a lot to paint.
Yeah, there's a ton of it.
But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Talk to Adam. Get in his place with an airbrush. He'll be done that in an afternoon.
No, I'm doing a rattle can. It's just again, wedding stuff.
Yeah, and that explains why you're insane.
Yeah,
Because you're just doing it at your desk, aren't you?
well, the other thing, I'm doing it outside. So, you got to wait till the weather's nice because you can't prime in the rain. That's barbaric.
Yeah, guys.
Yeah.
Your boy's a priming diva.
Dude, you have
Well,
to
you're
wait.
just a general diva.
I've been getting called a diva a lot lately. I think
Don't.
it's...
But in this case, you're right. I mean, in general, you're not. But in this case, you're right. All right. Like,
Okay.
yeah, it's got to be below. I think 80%. It's got to be 75% humidity or less.
That seems way too high.
No, that's the upper limit. Like, if you go beyond that, you're screwed. And we live by a lake.
It's true, we do.
Yeah, check up the humidex sometime. Anyways, but yeah,
Is
that
100% humidex just water?
it's after it's rained, and it's actually when you have wet bulb saturation. Anyways, the important thing is
So what's the humidity in water?
humidity in water depends on the temperature.
Yeah.
No, 100% humidity is the maximum amount of water you can put into air before it starts becoming droplets at that temperature.
I was making a joke.
I know.
I know, and then but your
Your joke is bad because it's dumb.
Yeah.
It relies on us and our audience being idiots.
It's honestly like saying why don't they make the airplane out of black box material? Like, come
Why
on,
don't
man.
they? First of all, a black box is orange.
Oh my god.
Second of all, it weighs
You know
a
what?
ton.
I'm just.
There we go.
I've had quite enough. Like,
I wasn't here last week. I'm making up for it.
So I just opened up a Class 5 Indian Pale Ale from Whitewater Brewing Company. They're out in Ottawa, and they're telling me that it's. Oh god, the copy on this is terrible. I'm not reading that. It doesn't even tell me what it's supposed to taste like. Yeah, it's a pale ale, so it's going to be bitter and tasty and refreshing. Oh, it's bitter, tasty, and refreshing.
Well, there you go. Yeah. So technically, it did tell you.
Yeah, I'm
Throwing it out there.
So last Sunday was the Sunday before the Horus Heresy event that I went to last Saturday.
Mhm.
No, 2 Sundays ago. I can't get my dates straight.
Yeah, I was gonna say last Sunday was before last Saturday.
Yeah, it was. And I was sitting down at my painting desk, and I was looking at pictures of all the armies that went to the event before I went, that were going to the event. And I felt like my army was missing something.
So you felt inadequate?
Feeling that was the word I was looking for. And one of my big problems with hobbying is sometimes I just get to a certain point, I just say, bleep that out, Paul.
I will.
Or I'm just like, I'm done with this project. And I never reached the finishing touches. And it's something I'm going to start going back on and finishing because I'm really happy with how those rhinos turned out. So what I did was I finished off my Mortis Las Cannon Dreadnought, went a little bit overboard with the decals. Decals. Put decals on all my rhinos, the Whirlwind Scorpius, the Mortis Dreadnought. And then I started edge highlighting my rhinos and redoing all the metallics. And I was like, I have no time this week, and now I have to do all 3 of my vehicles. So I got them all re-highlighted, all the metallics redone. Really happy with the final result. I'm going to have to go back and do that to the Dreadclaws. Javelins I'm happy with. And maybe some of the infantry, too. I have so much infantry.
Yeah, like, I really think that the infantry would benefit the most.
Yeah.
From
Because
that.
there's the most of it.
Yeah, and it's just like, where it is so tedious, but once you get it all done, it looks so nice all together.
And it would just be brighter line highlights on a couple of things. Because they're highlighted, but it's very muted.
Yeah.
And my painting skill's gotten better since I finished The Emperor's Children a year or so ago. So I definitely want to go back and do that.
It's so hard to justify it on line troopers, though. Like, characters, because they stand out, but on the regular dudes.
Yeah, no, it's true. No, I'll probably just end up doing it to the Noise Marines because I use them in every army. So why not? I think that's it for hobby for me. Paul, what do you got?
I finished off those aggressors, thank God.
Did you have them done by last week?
No, both Adam and I didn't have them done.
So you're a liar. 2 weeks ago.
Yes, I had lied, but I'm also very comfortable with being a liar, so whatever.
At least he's an honest liar.
Exactly. Yeah, no, so then I just did a couple of flyer bases because I lost a flyer base. I don't know how I did it. So Nick was kind enough to give me a spare one that he had.
Yeah. I thought you lost that one.
Oh, no.
I'm not giving you another one.
But yeah, like, how do you lose a flyer base?
What was this?
It was for the Fire Raptor, so it's like, it's got brick laid down on it. And,
you based it already.
And I also did one for the Fire Raptor, or the Fire Storm Talon that I'll be building.
The Firestorm Talon?
Firestorm Talon. It's
Firestorm
cool.
Talon, Eagle, Interceptor, Hawk.
Yeah.
Are you doing the Storm
thing?
Storm Talon?
Talon or the Storm Hawk?
I'm doing the Storm Talon because I don't want to use a Storm Hawk ever.
That's the little one, right?
Yeah.
I like the Storm Hawk a lot, rules-wise.
Well...
I think the Stormhawk looks better than the Storm Talon.
I'm thinking about using the cockpit from the
Stormhawk.
On because why does the Space Marine need to
the
look
Storm
at?
Claw?
It's like they've just got a pot of glue and a bunch of names, and they're just like,
it's that
Shadow.
magnet poetry, man. I'm telling you.
The Stormbeak.
You know. Well, if it was the wolf thing, it'd be the Storm Wolf.
Or the
That
ice-
is a thing.
that is a
Yeah,
thing.
damn it.
Also Storm Claws are a thing. Space Wolf, Jump Infantry.
All right. So yeah, I'm just doing that. I've been trying to get a couple of like professional projects done, just because I'll be starting a new job. We don't need to talk about it.
Oh shit, Frost Claws are a thing too.
Oh my god, that sounded like it hurt you so bad. But yeah, so I'm just trying to clear a bunch of stuff off my like actual work desk, and I was just contacted by a guy from Instagram who wants me to do a group of 7 Terminators and a couple of characters for him. That's
Imperial Fist ones?
yeah,
You got pigeonholed.
I know. That's the
Do
thing.
one thing. I only take Imperial Fist commissions.
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Especially because what you can do is, as you get better painting, just give the guy your old ones and be like, "Yeah, I totally painted these up. It's fine. It's fine."
And that's basically all I've been doing. Next on the docket is the Hellblasters. So I just want to get those done. I'm not looking forward to them.
Did you finish the aggressors?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I gotta glue them to the base. But
So they're not finished.
yeah, they're...
Did you base them?
So
I've made
lied
bases.
twice.
I already said I'm a liar.
Oh, that's true. We've established this.
Well, how about you, Nick? What games you been playing?
Yeah.
So I have a lot of games to talk about, so sit back and enjoy your beer. For those of you who weren't sitting here before the podcast started, which is everybody but the 3 of us, James is drinking a Zvek.
Żywiec.
Żywiec?
I think.
Żywiec.
I don't know. My Polish friend called it a Żywiec.
Yes.
And so
That
I'm
makes
going to
so
go with
much
him.
sense.
Every time I'm in Roncesvalles, I order one of those. I'm like, I'll have a Żywiec, and they'll say, "Do you mean Żywiec?" And I'm like, I didn't hear.
Is that what?
That's a fantastic Polish beer. Did you guys hear the latest news out of Poland?
Is this a joke?
This is not a Polak joke, so
Oh.
steal yourselves. Because I'm a quarter Polish, so I don't tell Polak jokes.
Well, that's why you don't tell him. Okay, yeah.
The Prime Minister of Poland actually told everybody that you need to go out and multiply like rabbits because we need to build up our population.
Oh, I was hoping for a Warhammer joke.
Yeah, no, sorry. Yeah, so last weekend, 7 of us from the Hogtown crew went out to Cambridge to represent Hogtown at a Horus Heresy campaign in a day.
Also, Nurgle, if there's 7 of you. Oh.
Just let him talk.
So it was another group, kind of like ours, more like Hogtown when we first started out. So very loosely associated. They just recently got a gaming space at Forbes Hobbies in Cambridge. That place is just getting off the ground. They don't have Wi-Fi. There's one bathroom, so it's exactly like Sword and Force. But it is an actual hobby shop. Like you walk in and there's the rockets, there's the model tanks, it's a hobby shop. Like they sell model train stuff, model rocket stuff, the actual engines for rockets. So, and it's a huge warehouse, so the ceilings are like 30 feet tall. We had a blast there. They're just getting started. So this was their first big event. So there were a couple growing pains associated with, for sure. Like they didn't take entrance fees from people before the event started. And then the 7 of us met down at Tim Hortons here at 9 o'clock Saturday morning to like hang out for a bit. grab some coffee, and then we were going to convoy to Cambridge together. And somebody posted being like, yeah, our carpool person isn't feeling too great, so 5 of us aren't coming.
Whoa.
And then somebody else was like, yeah, I've been sick for 2 weeks and I still don't have 500 points painted, so I'm not coming. Like the morning of. And you're like,
What?
yeah.
Oh, that's really disappointing.
Yeah. Which is why I've always been of that, like, you make people pay.
Yeah.
If people back out, you give them a refund.
Mm-hmm.
Like a week before. But day of, if you're like, no, don't feel like coming.
Yeah.
It's like, well, 7 of us are coming from Toronto, so
Yeah, no, always take the money.
yeah.
Always.
And it kind of flustered the group a little bit. So they were like, yeah, we're not doing pairings anymore. Just find your own partner, which was okay. I ended up playing 3 brand new people from their group. But it would have nice to have been random pairings or based on your standings because you pair with who you know, right?
Yeah, but the good thing is that if you are doing random pairings, then there's more likely that you're going to play one of the 7 people you came with.
That's true, but I wouldn't mind that if it was like part of the narrative. Like it's a narrative event, right? Like
Yeah.
if you were like, yeah, so now you are the best trader player, you're paying the best loyalist player, right? If the point spread's like that. So we played 3 games. I went 1 win, 1 loss, and 1 draw. The missions were very, very strange for Horus Heresy.
How so?
Well, I'll go through my game. So first game I played against Mechanicum and wrecked him. By turn 5, he had his HQ left on the board and nothing else. And I had like 2/3 of my army. And we tied. Because first turn, he killed 1 more unit than me. And we were playing War of Lies and my objective was only worth 1 point.
Did you roll it? Or...
Yeah. No. I rolled it and it was worth 1 point.
That's
Well,
War of Lies is this is a narrative campaign though, right?
Yeah.
so-
but
so-
I don't like War of Lies for any sort of event. So anybody who doesn't know the Heresy style missions, War of Lies is 5 objectives, and then at the end of the game, if you control an objective, you roll a d6. On a 1, it's worth nothing. On a 2 or 3, it's worth 1 victory point. On a 4, it's worth 2 victory points. On a 5, it's worth D3 victory points. And on a 6, it's worth minus D3 victory points. So poor Chaz, because Chaz just has the worst luck out of anybody.
He does.
He won, and then rolled 2 6s for his objectives and ended up with minus 2 victory points.
What? Chaz, get better at rolling.
and you can't command point those either.
No, you can't command point those. So that game was, he had a Thanatar, which is a big, stompy siege robot. 2 Krios battle tanks with the heavy ordnance things. A Triaros armored conveyor. That's the one that James likes.
Yeah, the train pain.
The one that gives you bonuses for ramming stuff.
Yeah. The Hug Squad, which is the Ursilax jump infantry. So they've got the iron. Yeah, so
Yeah,
they
the
have
Iron Man
2
thing.
power fists, and they've got an Iron Man chest that they can. So it's strength 6, AP 2, 1 attack, instant death. So instead of hitting you with their power claws, they can just be like.
But it's why would you ever do that though?
If you've got strength 10 power fists.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
So it's
let me
weird.
think about this for a minute.
So my list, it was 2,750 points. So I ran my usual Praetor Terminator Command Squad, which did really, really well in all 3 games, actually. A Chaplain, 3 Apothecaries, Mortis Dreadnought, Cordis Dreadnought, Palatine Blades, 2 Squads of Cacophony fully loaded out, 2 Javelins, and a Whirlwind Scorpius, and the Fire Raptor. So the Mechanicum player also ran a Vulture Axe, which is useless if you make it Jink.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because it's a monstrous creature. It's got a 3-shot haywire gun, which you're like, oh, that's really scary, and then you're like, wait, you jinked. So
Roll
he was
6 is like Chaz.
he was running something like 20 Thalax, which are the Cybernetica guys, but I had points to fill, so I put augury scanners in all my apothecaries, which went in all my squads. And what augury scanners do in Horus Heresy is if somebody deep strikes within 18 inches of that squad, that squad can intercept against it.
So you just fire at it.
And I got -1 to reserve rolls for him. So turn 2, 1 squad of Thalax came down, 1 squad of Cacophony blew them away.
Oh,
The other squad of Cacophony blew away the Ursilax. And then that just kept happening until the game was over. And then I was, because Paul, you know me. It's not being cocky. This is what I do in every single game. Is I send my HQ unit against the enemy's HQ unit.
Yeah,
There's a reason they call you point and click Nick. I prefer point and clicking Nick.
Turns out tech priests or archmagoses are bananas. And I fed this guy all my Palatine blades, an apothecary, a chaplain, and a praetor, and in one round of combat he killed them all.
What?
He had a breach in charge,
Uh-huh.
which killed all the Palatine blades in one go. Because as you just roll to hit, and if you hit, you place a small blast at strength 8 AP2. Doesn't scatter. in base contact with your model. And I was just like, wasn't expecting that. And then he proceeded to make something like 17 3-up invulnerable saves against my Palatine blades, my praetor, and my chaplain. And I was like, well, here. And then he hit me with the servo arms.
Which is just the icing on the cake.
So like I said, he had an HQ unit with like 1 wound left, and we tied 3-3. The missions were written very strangely, where you only scored points for the units killed in the first turn, and the objectives at the end of the game.
In all fairness, though, it sounds like that one HQ unit he had left, that was one heck of an HQ unit.
Yeah.
It was he was like 300 points.
Yeah.
Second game was my first game ever against the Ultramarines. And let me tell you, their chapter tactic in Heresy, really good. If one unit in the army hits one of your units, all units in the Ultramarines army with the Legion of Astartes rule, Legiones Astartes rule, I said it, rerolls 1s to wound against that unit.
Oh, man. They're so good.
So wait, Ultramarines are good in 40k and 30k?
But if you kill their HQ, all of your units have to take an immediate leadership test.
Oh.
They're like elite squad, the suzerains with the shields.
Suzerains.
Yeah.
Susans?
Yeah.
Suzerains.
They're the answer to the Palatine blades. Because I charged him, and we annihilated each other. But the 2 squads annihilated each other, and then his praetor killed my praetor, and I was like, bah!
Yeah, the Suzerains are I think in the Heresy, they're the units I'm most jealous I can't have.
Yeah.
Not with that attitude.
Because they have an axe, it's AP2 and initiative, and a combat shield.
Because my guys that have
The same things?
Yeah, except the axes are worse.
Yeah. So he was running a Spartan.
They're more expensive though, don't worry.
Oh yeah, no, that sounds like Imperial Fist.
Yeah.
So he had a Spartan full of the suzerains, a chaplain, and his praetor. He had a Xiphon interceptor, which again, if you start making it jink, not so useful. What else did he have? 3 laser destroyer quad rapier batteries, which I pinned first turn, and because ordnance can't snap shoot, ordnance can't do much when they're pinned. So shut that down. He had a Dorito, blew that up first turn with my Terminators. What else did he have? Like I said, the Spartan. He had 2 Contemptor Dreadnoughts. And then he had the Fulmentaris Terminators.
Oh, really?
And he ran Tylus Rubio with them. So Tylus Rubio is kind of like a free agent librarian who's an agent of the Emperor.
Okay.
I thought he was one of the Lost Boys in Hook, but sure.
He is one of the Lost Boys.
Okay,
He's
thank
one
you.
of
Thank you.
Malcador's Lost Boys.
But he's basically a level 2 definition librarian who can reroll failed definition psychic tests.
Oh, divination.
I've given up on trying to get him pronounced Suzerain correctly.
Oh, Sousaphones?
Crazy sneezing. So it was a kind of a very back and forth game, but again, a very weird mission. So I was the attacker, and I could only score if I had scoring units in his deployment zone, but he scored a point for every unit of mine in my deployment zone at the end of the game.
What?
The missions were made up like for the event, and I was like looking at them like,
Did they playtest them?
we tested them,
Yeah.
and we were like, these don't make much sense. They didn't really change them, but it was weird, right? Because he immobilized both my Dreadclaws in my deployment zone, and it was like, well, that's 2 points for you, and then he just didn't shoot at stuff in my deployment zone. And I was like, I can't do anything about that, but I could only score with scoring units in his.
That's such a weird one.
It was a very weird one.
It might make sense for their meta.
But here's the thing. So
Yeah.
I had a 12-inch deployment zone on a short table edge. Then there was a 12-inch no man's land. Then there was a 24-inch defender's deployment zone. Then there was a 24-inch breakthrough zone in which nobody could deploy in. So it was basically my entire force was sandwiched against this short table edge, and you could easily get turn 1 charges off. Like, first turn, he just rolled his Spartan right into my deployment zone, and I was like, oh, okay, well.
Gotta deal with that.
I mobilized it with a Cordis Dreadnought, and then he killed everybody but the sergeant in my Cacophony squad, and the sergeant was just like, let's do this! And like hopped out of cover, slapped a melted bomb on it, and blew it up. It was
good.
Awesome.
That looks cool, though. Anyway.
Yeah, just the sergeant being like, good. No, to slow me down.
The last game...
Well, it's because that guy was watching the Magnus from the last game, right? Like...
The last game was by far the most fun. This guy has the most beautiful Iron Warriors army I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, you look at it, it's very muted, but when you start looking at it, you're like, oh man, like, they look like real soldiers.
You
Like,
know,
look
I like that.
what Iron Warriors would look like. Very dark, very muted colors. He was running a Void Shield generator, and it's not our meta, right? Like, we don't do that, and we were like, oh. But then after the first turn, I was like, okay, this is... Maybe I was just the matchup for him. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. So we had 3 Medusas, 3 quad guns. We had a Master of Signal with Iron Havocs. They don't need the Siege Breaker because they have tank hunter. So that was brutal. So we put them in the Void Shield generator. Then he had 3 squads of vets, all with meltas, plasmas, and then a plasma support squad. But the special rule in this mission was that when troops units are destroyed, automatically enter ongoing reserves and can re-enter the game via outflank. Okay. So both, I was being very aggressive with my Cacophony, and he was being very aggressive with his vets, because every time they died, it'd be
They'd come back.
His vets would come on. And then my Cacophony would come on behind them and blow them away. And then his vets would come on my Cacophony and blow them away.
So that's the Meat Grinder mission, and it's so good.
This was another weird mission, and I talked to the organizer. I'm like, if you're going to start a 3-game event at 11 o'clock, the last turn was decided by, at the start of turn 4 and every turn thereafter, you roll a d6 and add the turn number. If you get to 10, this is the last turn. And I'm like, it's 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
We were still going. I told the guy, I'm like, this could go to turn 9. So turn 7 rolled around. We're like, do you want this to be the last turn? He was like, this is the last turn.
Well, you can't do it with recycling troops. That's the big thing.
Yeah.
Because exactly. Because turn 4, 5, 6, and 7 was most of my army versus the same 3 units of his being constantly recycled.
That's...
It was a fun... He was a great opponent. Like I said, the most beautiful Iron Warriors army I've ever seen. A couple weeks ago, I was talking about how my dice were not rolling hot. At this tournament, my dice were on fire.
My man.
Against this Iron Warriors player, Biopsychic Shock went off at least half a dozen times and absolutely annihilated units. Like, I'd kill 3 Iron Havocs.
Yeah.
Biopsychic, he'd fail the test. I'd roll a 6, and it's like, that's the rest of the squad and the Master of Signal. Biopsychic Shock is when the Cacophony shoot you.
Oh, is that leadership test thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So you roll a leadership test. Subtract the number of wounds you take. If you fail, you take D6, instant death, auto wounds.
Yeah, so if it was an independent character attached to the squad, that's what you're thinking?
Yeah.
Yeah, in 7th edition, it was... You don't count them disengaged from the squad they're attached to until the end of the end of your movement phase.
Yeah.
So that's why it works.
Yep.
Both his squads of quad batteries went down to 1 casualty. Then he failed the test and then just exploded. This doesn't usually happen. I'm really sorry. And he, like I said, he was a fantastic opponent. Came down to the wire. I think I ended up beating him 14-12 because for that one, you only scored points for the units killed on the final turn.
But what was the final turn?
Exactly. So, like I said, I killed everything in his army except for the 3 respawning veterans. 3 respawning veteran squads and 1 respawning plasma support squad.
So the worst part about this, though, is the fact that you're saying that you only count for the last turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, that means you have to start counting how many guys get killed every turn starting from the 6th turn.
Yeah.
Which is just bad game design.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's
Anyways, keep going.
And then who killed the most units? And then we were like, wait, that also includes the recycled troops. So like we had to like keep track of how many times this unit is.
So it's like, did either of us start an Excel spreadsheet before this game?
You know that I don't like bookkeeping.
Yeah, no. So this one, he was good. That one hurt my head a little bit towards the end of it. We were the last people playing, so it ended with everybody else watching us play.
Oh.
It was a fun event. Everybody went home with something, which was really cool because the prize box was a Burning of Prospero and a Betrayal at Calth box.
Whoa!
So what they did was because 5 people dropped out, they just split it up
Oh wow!
into all the different units, and then like best trader player got first pick, best loyalist player got second pick, or whatever.
Oh, cool!
And we went down the list, and I was still playing, and he like called my name, and I'm like, 10 Mark III Marines. That's what I need, more Marines. I think I'm going to try to turn them into like Death Watch veterans.
I would really love it if someone went up and like, oh, cool, rule book.
But it was really cool. We saw a lot of armies that we don't usually see. Thousand Sons were there. Ultramarines were there. Lots of Death Guard players.
Yeah, Death Guard's the one.
Yeah.
I thought you guys hated seeing Thousand Thuns though.
No, we
Magnus.
Well, you hated
Tristan.
seeing Tristan with them.
Yeah, Tristan.
Yeah. Yeah, so there were a lot of really cool armies, and
How many Imperial Fists were there? Just the one?
none.
None?
He didn't show.
Oh.
Huh.
Wait, you didn't go?
The
Well,
Imperial
I-
Fist guy didn't show. We had so much fun that in February we're going to be running our own campaign in a day, and we're inviting those guys.
Well, we can.
All wandering around
Well,
with
like, let's
Bloodthirster?
talk about this. I know you're excited, but we've also let you go 20 minutes talking about 3 games.
Well, it's exciting 3 games.
James, have you played games?
I've been
recently?
cut off.
Oh.
You're done.
I've been restrained in my chair. Help me!
You've had enough.
He's gone out of my room.
Yeah, well, I mean, Connor, wake up, you're in a coma. But
a
I
coma?
mostly play Shadow War these days, quite honestly.
That's why you're on this here podcast.
Yeah, although I did play a 1,000-point game with a new guy a couple weeks, like 2 weeks ago.
Right.
Yeah, he had Grey Knights. I found out that the chapter, not the chapter master, the big guy in a Nemesis Dread Knight game.
Grandmaster in a Baby Bjorn.
Yeah, those guys are the worst. Like, I had just my entire army just, like, go up against him, and then he's like, oh, you want to be in combat? All right, I guess. I'm like, oh, yeah, this is a terrible idea. Because, yeah, you get him down to, like, his, like, half profile. It's like, yeah, you're going to be hitting worse, right? And he's like, in shooting. So, yeah, that didn't go in my favor at all. But, yeah, no. Mostly I've been playing Shadow War just because they take less time, quite honestly. The good thing about it, too, is that everyone you play against, because it's, like, 10 models for most people, unless you're orcs, and then it's like 20, but you know, that's neither here nor there. Each one of their guys is like amazingly converted, and like everyone who's like, there's never a time where it's like, yeah, this plasma rifle is actually a melta gun. That's totally the thing. It's like, no, everyone has what they have, to the point where people are converting scouts to have plasma rifles, and
Yes.
yeah, if they have crack grenades, it's like they have crack grenades, and I like it.
Well, I mean, I do that with my Marines. But...
Yeah, but you're crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not everyone does that. That's the thing, right?
True.
And it is very nice to play against very nicely done converted models, and you can really get on people if they don't have their models painted, because you're like, buddy, you got 5. Come on, come on.
Well, that's like when we did the Kill Team event.
Yeah, where it's like, there's no excuse. There's sorry.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
absolutely.
no, there are like some excuses.
Yeah, but yeah, the other thing too with Shadow War is that like it is terribly balanced, and it's like everything that was wrong with 7th, but I love it because it's everything that was wrong with 7th for everyone. So like, yeah, because it's also opens itself up to really stupid things, because you only have like 5 models on the table. So like you'll have like, buddy throws a grenade, it accidentally hits your leader, he dies, congratulations. Like,
R.I.P.
and, like, yeah, but like
Everybody bottles.
yeah, it's like, yeah, that happens all the time. The Grey Knights keep like, they've done terribly because Raph can't roll leadership tests to save his life. Like,
Classic.
yeah, but the good thing too also about that thing, because it lends itself to campaign play, is that one, you can never list tailor. Well, you can list tailor. That's going to work for you once, right? Because like, you know, oh, I'm bringing all heavy infantry. You're going to lose terribly. And then it's like, well, I get the same number of re-equip points as you, so guess what I'm bringing? You know, it rhymes with schmanty, schmevy, schminfantry. Like, you know.
It's not how rhymes work.
It rhymes, anyways. But like, yeah, no, it's really good for that, and like, it also everything has a random table. Everything comes down to random dice rolls. Everything wrong with seventh.
Well, we'll get into that when we start talking about alternative ways to play. Look at me having to moderate this whole thing.
Buddy.
Do you have any games played, Paul?
Yeah.
Yeah, I played Liam on our open day. We had an open day down at the store, which was a ton of fun. At Sword and Board, it's at Brock and Bloor, behind a Pizza. Ooh. All right. It was really great. Like, a lot of people showed up. I played Liam for, I think, the first time. He played, we had a 1,000-point game as well. It was weird that it was small. I played against...
What you said.
That's fairly regular. Anyways.
Never heard that before.
I know, right?
Get out.
Genius. I mean, I've never been in a situation.
Oh, yeah.
Well, someday, if you try hard and believe in yourself, you might be in that situation.
Yeah.
But, we played a 1,000-point game. He played Death Guard, I played Necrons, and boy howdy, at 1,000 points, you can really see the difference between an index list and a codex list. He took the 3 characters from the Dark Imperium box. So the Bell Guy, the Plaguecaster, and the...
Babyface Pukemeister?
Yeah.
I'm the Lord of Contagion.
Yeah, he took those 3.
The Bell Guy.
It's the Bell Guy.
Yo quiero Taco Bell.
No, he's there to fix your cable.
No. You guys are all bad, and all need to go to hell. Then 2 units of 20 Poxwalkers and 2 Rhinos with 5 Plague Marines and a Bloat Drone.
He fit all that into 1,000 points?
Into 1,000 points.
Oh, boy.
It was brutal. And I had an Overlord, a Cryptek, a unit of 18 Warriors, 2 units of 5-man Immortals, the Annihilation Barge, Deathmarks, and 3 Bare Bones Wraiths.
That's pretty balanced.
Yeah, like, I mean, he had a lot, but you also...
I couldn't put out the firepower to kill those Poxwalkers.
Oh, that's fair.
And I couldn't put out the firepower to deal with, like, the amount of mortal wounds that just started coming. Now, mind you, he wasn't really putting out enough firepower to kill all my warriors, so they were just, like, rolling back.
You're like, oh god, Necrons versus Death Guard would be so boring.
It's like, great.
Yeah.
So what happens when an immovable object hits another immovable object?
Nothing died this turn.
Yeah, it was basically like we held hands and slapped each other in the mouth.
Rochambeau?
Yeah. He won by 1 victory point because he got first blood. I think I lost 2 units. So it was just...
Like, when you say lost, do you mean like forgot behind a piece of terrain, or like...
No, I lost 3. I lost the 2 Immortals and the Annihilation Barge.
Okay.
And eventually the Wraiths. The Wraiths went up against the Bloat Drone, and it just took forever.
Yeah.
And, like, that's... Wraiths, this edition, man, they suck.
I don't think they suck. I just don't think they're as good as they were.
And it's not like...
But they move faster. They're 15, aren't they?
No, they're 12.
Okay, but most things lost movement.
Yeah.
True.
So they're moving quickly. They still have a 3 invulnerable save.
Yeah, so, like, they're hard to dislodge.
Yeah.
But,
They're tar pits this edition.
yeah.
They're not...
But you can get around an invulnerable save now pretty easily.
That's true.
Some people
Death
can.
Guard can.
Yeah.
Death
Very
Guard can.
easily.
So I was just like... I think this was the first game where I really felt the difference between a codex and an index.
Well, we'll do Necrons versus Death Watch to make us both feel better. 'Cause
yeah.
I'll bring orcs, buddy.
I don't even, Actually, I don't even know if Death Watch can deal with Necrons.
Yeah, they're gonna need something.
I mean, by their fluff, they should, but...
Maybe 8d6 frag cannon hits will deal with the warrior squad.
Get out.
Really like those frag cannons. Oh, do a Zorn Mortalis thing so that it's automatically 6, too, right?
Automatically 12.
Oh, yeah.
We'll talk. But
Because they're 2d6.
Yeah. Well, race can go through... Anyways, regardless.
but so anyways, this game, it was a good...
Can go through walls.
Oh, dude, yeah, no, like, yeah, because then you could... Because you can assault even if you can't see them.
Boom!
So you can't Overwatch.
You don't need a line of sight to Overwatch. You just need range.
No,
Yeah.
you need line of sight.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
Yep.
you do.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
God damn it.
Sorry. I'm not sorry.
Yeah.
I just wanted to jump in with a funny story, if that's okay, before it
Sure.
comes to my mind. So,
Just dominate the entire first half of the podcast. That's fine, Nick. It's like, whatever.
It was a funny story, and it has to do with different editions and
Okay.
going back and forth between different game styles.
Okay.
So like I told you, like in the last game, everyone was standing around watching me and this other guy play, and his Iron Warrior squad charged my cacophony, and Phil decides to pipe up. He goes, "He's got a Doom Siren! Overwatch with it!" We all like turn to look at him, and we're like, dude, this is 40k. This is Heroes Heresy. There's no Doom Sirens here. He's like, oh yeah. It's like,
Yeah, I guess some people would call that a funny story.
Yeah, that's
he laughed.
That's James.
it's
talking
so
about
awkward, man.
Overwatch.
Like, just
Talking about Overwatch, you can edit that out.
I won't.
Yeah, no.
I'm leaving that in. I'm leaving this.
Yeah. I like how it's like, oh man, this very specific piece of war gear that you have to know exists in 40k, and then you also have to know doesn't exist in 30k. Like, I think that this guy who doesn't play my army should have known that.
It's
Alright.
yeah, you know,
Well,
Yeah,
no,
we're-
because he plays against you all the time, so it's valid.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back after this.
Battle Brothers Studios, a commission painting service passionate about making your miniatures and your gaming table look great. Our philosophy at Battle Brothers is this: your army is our army. Every model will be something you can be proud to show off. Send us a message on facebook.com/Battle Brothers Studios for a free quote and make that dream project come to life. We also have something special planned for the release of 8th edition of 40k. Right now, get 20% off if you commission us to paint an 8th edition starter set, or get a 10% off Army Bundle bonus for painting up your new 8th edition 40k army. Inquire with us on Facebook for full details.
Hogtown, Hogtown, Hogtown!
Saturdays at Sword and Board!
Rock and Blur!
It's behind the pizza.
Oh, yeah!
Yeah!
Idiots.
Hooray.
Nick, what are you drinking there, buddy?
I'm drinking Granville Island Brewing Lion's Winter Ale.
Oh, Winter Lion.
Ooh.
This winter,
Oh.
God damn it, this winter warmer features robust notes of coca, caramel, and vanilla. So get out of the cold and into the bold. It's good to be here. And I spilled it all over my notebook.
Uh-huh.
it was
I'm actually getting. I'm going to steal Get Out of the Cold and Get Into the Bold.
Oh,
Ooh. From who?
ooh,
I don't know. What we got? What we got? Smells nice. Oh, smells deep, chocolatey.
oh man, that is good.
Does it smell like winter?
Oh, it tastes like a Hershey's Kiss.
It does taste like a Hershey's Kiss.
Oh, it keeps going.
It does taste like a Hershey's Kiss.
I really
That's
like
very
that.
nice. That's very...
I like that for one.
It's
Do
light,
you like Hershey's Kisses?
Gross.
but it's very chocolatey.
You're not Hershey.
Oh no. What have we done?
So our main topic today is alternate ways to play Warhammer. We got the rulebook missions.
Yeah.
We got 12 of them. Some people don't have the Maelstrom cards. Some people don't like Maelstrom. So sometimes you only have 6 missions.
Some people don't like Dawn of War.
Some people don't like Dawn of War. Some people really don't like Vanguard Strike, which I don't understand because it is one of my favorite deployment methods. By
Because
far.
people can't do math.
People can't do simple
Sorry.
math. Also,
people
Games
can't
Workshop
use... Yeah.
sucks at their...
Sorry, not that people can't do math. People can't use the internet to look up math people have already done for them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Some people get bored with 40k.
Mm.
And I get it. If you're playing the same missions over and over again. Thank you, Paul.
Especially if you're playing the same people over and over again. Like, no offense.
No, but like, yeah, if you have a meta, you have a bunch of people you know that they never use voice shields, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like it gets boring.
Yep. Never use void shields. A couple Spartans show up and you're like, oh my god,
Yeah.
what do you do?
What's this?
Or a Fire Raptor makes people be like, that's overpowered.
Like, buddy, you should come down.
Cool.
So we want to talk to our listeners and with our special guest here today
Yeah.
about some alternate ways to play Warhammer. Something that injects new life into it, injects some fun,
Yeah.
a little bit of newness.
And
You know,
also,
you've been
like-
with- it's like you've been with the same partner for a while.
No, we're not going down this road. We're not going down this road. I'm not editing around this. I'm not doing it.
I was gonna say it's like
Hard no.
I was gonna say it's like, not as in playing upside down or like, playing outside, which actually that's pretty cool. But
Yeah.
outdoor hammer,
Got
Or beer hammer.
a tan hammer. Work on that tan.
Calvin ball hammer. You just make up the rules as you go.
That took a second.
It's been a long time since I've read a Calvin and Hobbes book. But yeah, basically, if you're bored with the main rulebook missions and you've got a good group of gamers,
Do the narrative ones.
yeah. So James,
Yeah.
why don't
Okay.
you start us off with some of the narrative play missions? And what are some of the difference between narrative play and match play?
All right. So narrative play and match play. Narrative play is not even a little bit balanced at all. Like, just throw that out the window. It is entirely like hilarious things like Sentry. So my favorite is the preliminary bombardment, because it ends up being that so you can lose any unit in on a random a die roll at the very beginning. It's great. It's wonderful. It's everything I love. It used to actually be in the 4th edition stuff too, like the meat grinder missions, and they used to have rules for sentries, and they used to have rules for hidden deployment, which is also one of my favorite things. But so all it is just like a bunch of random stuff that don't play it if you want to do a match play mission.
Yeah, so these wouldn't be... These are sort of like conversations to have beforehand.
Oh, yeah, definitely. The other thing, too, is you have to list tailor for them, and not in the sense where you have to list tailor, if you do the breakout mission, for example, and you just choose all super fast vehicles, that's no fun for anyone.
Mm-hmm.
But, you look at it and you're like, okay, everything's mechanized, because obviously you're attacking a convoy, right? Or the meat grinder mission, it's like, I'm going to bring infantry heavy, because obviously it's supposed to represent a last stand. You're not going to bring, oh yeah, I really want to bring a full bike army. No.
It's hard to have a last stand as a full bike army.
Yeah, unless it's bikes on bikes and you're trying to do Hell's Angels versus El Diablos or something. But aside from
The
that,
Hell Satans versus the Hell Satans.
yeah, that type of thing, sure. But no, normally you have to list tailor. You have to really get into the narrative, and you really have to be a huge nerd about it. It's great.
Well, this is what we like to do.
Yeah. The other ones too is that there's some of them where it's you can't bring monsters or vehicles. It's entirely about the spy one is specifically you're trying to assassinate someone. So it's straight up you can set up vehicles, use them as terrain.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
So it's you're sneaking into a camp
or sneaking away from a camp. That type of... the sabotage one is you are definitely sneaking into a camp and you are definitely sabotaging something that the other guy has.
It's not about two star-crossed lovers meeting under the warp moon.
What are you talking about?
I really want that to be a narrative mission now. I want it to be where you have to get your warlord and their warlord into close combat.
Wait, you went with a Romeo and Juliet joke as opposed to a Beastie Boys joke.
Yeah.
Oh, God, what am I even doing here? You know what? I can't stand it. You know what? I know you planned it. I'm drinking a Hops and Robbers, everybody. It's a grapefruit IPA. Who makes it? Double Trouble Brewery. Where are they from? Guelph, Nick says. It's a grapefruit IPA.
The can says.
Well, I'll be damned. That tastes like juice.
Yeah?
Yep.
Does it taste like grapefruit juice?
I hope so.
Sort of. So, yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, that's...
It does. Yeah.
I don't know why they even bothered to call that an IPA. Because that's just juice.
Yeah.
That's a
Literally
Rattler.
just juice.
Well, it's 6%.
Oh, no.
Ooh, I feel like I'm in high school.
So what do you got for us, James?
Right, so yeah, honestly, just go over the book missions. Let's do that.
Pick two of your favorites.
All right, my absolute favorite is the meat grinder mission.
Such a savage.
That is the best one. So first off, the good thing about it is the victory conditions are the defenders wiped out? Yes, no. That's it. There's nothing else, right? And what it is, all it is supposed to represent a last stand. It's supposed to represent one side is just this is their only bastion left. So It's really good if you're Imperial Guard and just all the Tyranids are coming. Or if it's
is your...
Or Imperial Fist and anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
This is your, polar outpost on McCraig during the Leviathan
Battle of Rorke's
100%. Anything on
Battle of what
Armageddon.
Rorke's Drift,
I don't know that one.
but not British colonial troops and Zulu warriors.
100%
No.
Oh, Big Two
no.
Forever?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, not that one.
Who's my cocaine?
But yeah, no, the Meat Grinder one is my favorite one because like what it is basically it's that one stratagem that the Valhallans have of your troops get recycled, but it's all the time, and it's because like
You have to pay for those now.
not in Meat Grinder.
I know, but in match play,
Yeah,
the Valhalla and stuff you have to pay,
No.
which is so weird.
They're summoned?
Yeah, they count as summoned,
Weird.
so you have to have points set aside if you're. Yeah, it's really dumb.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like that.
So the other thing about Meat Grinder, going back to that one, so the things that the defender gets, because like they are so screwed. So the attacker gets to recycle troops on a 2-up every time it dies, and everything else on a 4-up. So what you really want to do is you want to flood the board, like be like, does my enemy swim? Because I'm going to drown them in bodies. But like the defender does things like it says the defender sets up the battlefield. Like that's what you're supposed to do. Like
I like that a lot.
it's like you set up firing, like you're supposed to set up kill zones because the fact of the matter is it's like, yeah, best of luck with those. Like again, yeah, and then the other thing too is that you have the preliminary bombardment, which is my favorite because you just basically you roll a die and start killing stuff on the first turn.
Is it just a mortal wound?
It's a couple mortal wounds. Yeah, that's
Oh, wait.
no, that's the one that gives you extra to it.
What?
Yeah, here we go. On a roll of 6, it's been hit by a preliminary bombardment. Suffers D6 mortal wounds.
Oh,
Infantry units can go to ground and only take D3, but like I played this against Phil, and like Saint Celestine was down to 1 wound on the first turn.
good.
Yeah, it was
Get out of
great.
here. Good.
Like, on one of his like he brought these 2 exorcists, and one of them was just crippled starting from the first turn. It's great, and that's to represent the fact that like again, this is your last stand. It turns out the attackers have all this artillery just off field.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And it's just, yeah, they have extra stratagems.
Oh, neat. So, like, the defenders have, like, decoys and foxholes and traps.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the other thing, too, is that you have hidden deployment for the defenders.
Oh, cool.
Because,
That's
again,
so cool.
your attackers are showing up, and they have no idea what's there. So, your defender, you just put down counters, and it's like, yeah, set up your attackers down. Good luck. Right? And they can do things like put up decoys as a stratagem where you set up extra stuff, so it's like, yeah, that thing that you thought might be a unit, it's a dud.
Yeah, that's straight out of like 4th and 5th edition rules. Like
Yeah.
I loved those rules.
Yeah, the 4th edition rules, I remember it had a thing too, because like everyone, of course, 4th edition was written with an eye to be like, I don't know why they thought people were going to use it for like more match play stuff.
Yeah.
But it specifically has a paragraph about how like, hey, if you're setting up hidden deployment and you're hiding a tank, it can't hide in a bush. Just make sure that it's like reasonable. It's
Yeah, like in a building, it's
really
fine.
gotta, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
makes
like
sense.
really got to say that. But,
Or model your tank to be covered in bushes.
I can see it for orcs, but
Dude, have you seen pictures of like World War II camouflage? They're literally like Soviet tanks rocking around that look like mobile fortresses.
Dude,
I
you
can
just
see it
walking around?
Rolling around.
I can see it for orcs. But like, yeah.
What's the line from Macbeth?
The Force of Dunsany?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
Alright, you nerds. So yeah, that's the meat grinders. You're,
The Force of Dunsany. Lots of nerds.
Yeah, but it's my favorite one.
Alright, so if you had to pick it's like picking favorite kids. It's easy, you just don't have to tell them.
Yeah.
What's your number 2 favorite?
Well, the other one that I really like is Breakout, but that's just because I play Cult of Speed.
Tell me more.
But that one is just like basically one side is trying to blitz. This one.
Blitz.
Okay. So all that one is basically one side is trying to get as far into the enemy lines as possible.
Nice.
And it's also got, guess what it has? It rhymes with preliminary bombardment. Yeah.
Oh my god.
I'm terrible at that.
That actually hurt my feelings to hear.
So,
Good!
I brought one of my favorite books from the Warhammer rulebook series, the City Fight.
Yeah!
Not the Cities of Death,
No, City Fight.
but City Fight.
That's
This,
an
I
old
think,
one.
was
That was 4th.
this was 4th edition. This was 2001. This was one of my favorite books. It was Codex Battle Zone. They did a couple of these.
Yeah, but that's a good one.
This was the good one.
Yeah.
And it made city fighting just so much fun to play.
Well, it had stratagems before there were stratagems.
Yeah, it had stratagems. It had a whole section on how to build ruins.
Yep.
It had a battle report using the rules in the Codex, the 122nd Cadian Regiment versus the Night Lords.
It's like he bought a hardbound white dwarf.
Yeah, it really is.
Yep.
And City Fight has to be one of my all-time favorite ways to play 40K.
But not in 8th edition.
My list wasn't set up. When you and I played...
Yeah, no, but that's also...
Yeah.
That's neither here nor there. Go to 3.
James and I played a match.
Well, take us through this and then take us
then
through
we'll go with that.
So City Fight, I just brought this out for nostalgia's sake. But City Fight,
pretty.
it is pretty, and I've kept it in really good condition, which is really surprising for a book of mine.
Also
City
pretty
Fight is
alcoholic.
you just literally fill every square inch of the table with a city ruin, and you go at it. There's always special rules. There's things that... Okay, that was weird.
There's always special rules.
There's always special rules, like things that cause... So, for example, in this City Fight book, if a flamer template, what's a template, hits a unit, it does D6 hits instead.
Oh, okay.
Same with Ordnance. Small Blast does D3.
Grenades.
So this was very much kind of like... had 8th edition in mind, almost.
Well, okay, so the reason why they did that was because of the fact that you're filling the board with city ruins everywhere. It was actually done because you can't fit flamer templates.
Yeah.
Like, that was the idea.
Yeah, so just
Anyways.
like, you're 8 inches away, you suffer D6 hits.
Yeah.
So in 8th edition, City Fight is, if a weapon has a random thing, it does the full.
Yeah, so if it's D6, it does 6.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Which makes sense, because you're...
In an enclosed space.
But ruins in 8th edition also give you a +2 to your armor save.
Yeah.
So it really balances out.
For Paul.
Not for Noise Marines.
Not for close combat? I don't know. Like...
Yeah, you're orcs.
But it's a lot of fun to play. This City Fight, this one particularly, the Codex Battle Zone, really went all in for like how to convert things. Like there's pictures in here. It's like this scout has its heavy bolter stripped down, so it functions as an assault weapon, because that was one of the stratagems that you could buy.
They did that in the 4th edition rulebook as well. But like, yeah, you don't see that anymore.
No, you don't see. So this is supposed to be a separate game. Like you build an army to fight a city fight battle, and it's kind of like a campaign.
Yeah.
But it's so much fun. There's so much cool stuff going on in there, and yeah, it's a great way to play. I think it really lends itself towards more infantry based battles, especially in 8th edition, because you would never. Well, I don't know. Maybe not 8th edition, because vehicles can assault things.
I love that.
But in 7th edition, like, you'd never send in a vehicle without infantry support.
Yeah.
Right?
But,
so City Fight, fantastic. It's got some fun stuff in...
do you want to talk about the proto-stratagems in that one?
All right, so this was the first iteration of stratagems.
Yeah.
And I'd really like to see them bring something like this back.
The thing is, you can bring those back with a little bit of modification. It's
Yeah.
not difficult.
So there's an armory in here.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic. So it's things like... Oh, what do you got there, James?
I got an old mill and I don't want to talk about it.
Okay.
So James is drinking an old Milwaukee ice
Sorry. Yeah.
because he's a dirty old man.
Oh man, this thing is like literally one of... I think Bush is one better in it for alcohol to dollars volume. Anyways.
That's the quality of its own.
It's a rough beer.
So this one uses extra points instead of stratagems. So the defending player may spend 4d6 times 10 points on assault equipment chosen from the list below. And you've got things like bunkers, sentry guns, razor wire, tank traps, fortifications.
They had minefields, right?
Booby trap buildings. Additional hidden setup markers. So if you're doing the hidden setup that James was talking about before, for 20 points you can buy an additional one that you can just be like, haha, that was nothing.
It's such a dick move.
You've got mines that you can plant.
So the other thing about the mines that was really good was that the Orc Codex in 4th as well, you could use grots as mine clearers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
And then you got the Attacker's Army, which is like
Yeah.
jammer packs where mines only
Don't
go
do
off on a
anything.
6 if you're within it. Scaling ladders, breaching charges, demo charges, tunneling, wire cutters, stummers. Wait, what are stummers?
What are stummers?
Stummers can only be issued to infantry with an unmodified toughness of 4 or less. Their effect deadens noise and makes detection that much difficult.
Oh, okay, so like stealth things.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so that's for like sentry games and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they had sentries back then.
Yeah, so you buy these stratagems and you add them to your army. I think it's super cool.
They added sentries back into 8th edition. And one thing I will say is that 4th edition, because it had a bunch of narrative missions as well, very similar to City Fight, sentries were really cool because the fact of the matter is it represents sneaking up on the other guy when they're not aware. I'm not totally sold on the way they do it in 8th because they got rid of initiative.
Well, how do they do it in 8?
Okay, so 8th is just based on your power level. So it used to be that you take your initiative value, that's how far you can see. Like, that's your detection. Now it's just based on your power rating. So, power rating 5 or less, you have a detection rating, spotting distance of 3.
6 to 10 is 6 inches.
Yeah.
20 or more is 12.
Wait, that doesn't make sense. If you're like, I'm a super heavy battle tank, I've got a big spotting distance behind me?
Yeah, I mean, I guess
Whatever.
you could really, really hardcore fluff it as like
Searchlights?
hardcore fluff. Yeah, it's like we got a bunch of scanning equipment and stuff. I still think grots should not get 3 inches, but you know, whatever.
What should they get?
Nothing.
Well, I mean,
Grots are smart.
yeah, they're clever.
Okay, well, no, grots should have a better spotting distance than hard boys, which aren't in the codex, so it's not a big deal.
Yeah, so that's some of the stuff you can play out of the main 8th edition rulebook right now.
Yeah, so like they've tried to bring it over, but City Fight is definitely more well thought out.
Yeah.
And there is a city fight mission in the main codex
Yeah,
with some cool
Main
stratagems
rulebook, yeah.
and
yeah.
So, like, yeah, take me through the way that City Fight works in 8th.
Oh, okay. So one other thing quickly is always use power level when doing narrative. Like, yeah, because points just don't work.
Tell me more.
Okay, points are okay. I personally don't like points. No, I think it's great for like the frontline gaming missions and like when you're really hardcore into it. Mm-hmm. But the fact of the matter is, for the most part, if you bring a power fist,
So, hold on, wait, continue your thing, and then we'll talk about the poison that Nick just opened.
so like I was saying before, like if you bring a power fist, right?
tastes like cleaning solution.
Okay, let him talk.
No. We should go over this.
No, you go. We'll go.
All right. So, like, yeah, if you have a power fist, right, it's not necessarily better than having a bolter, depending on what the rest of the squad has.
Right.
So the fact of the matter is, power level is good as a good approximation, which is really important in narrative missions because you're never going to be even, and you might as well just leave that at the door.
Embrace that.
But it can be gamed, especially by a certain someone whose name starts with D.
Dustin.
Okay,
He
again,
was like, I'm going to arm all my guys with Inferno pistols.
no. Let him do that, right? Like 100%. And then play him in a mission where you get to set up with the decoy things first off. Then you take the tunnel rat stratagem where you can just assault his guys with Inferno pistols. And since he doesn't have line of sight to you first, congratulations. You do not get to use those, period. Sorry.
Yeah, no.
No, but like, no, there are, yeah.
So, so James also showed up to this party with a bottle of. Well, James, why don't you tell us?
It's called Windowsill Dry.
Uh-huh.
And by that I mean it's my buddy JY makes his own booze. And so this is moonshine.
Uh-huh.
Because you said craft beer or craft moonshine.
That's not what happened.
That's exactly
I said
100%.
craft beer. You
I
said
asked.
moonshine, and I said craft moonshine.
Right. So craft moonshine.
Stop hitting the table.
That's right. So craft moonshine. So yeah, you should give this a shot.
All right,
It
so
might be the last thing you do.
this says Blueberry Show Mead,
Yeah.
12% alcohol.
I don't believe that.
Oh, it smells horrible.
It smells like nail polish remover.
No, it doesn't. It's got a funk to it. It's definitely brain and liver poison.
It's neat. It's got the honey smell to it.
Yeah.
It smells like a dead body.
Yeah.
Mm. Oh, it tastes like a dead body. Oh my god.
I know, right?
How?
This is your first
Oh.
experience with moonshine, isn't it?
No, it's my first experience with bad moonshine.
No, that tastes like a rotten corpse. That, yeah.
Holy cats. And like, okay, how long have you had this?
I don't even know.
Oh, it tastes like...
Look, I mean, the fact that it's written in pen, like, badly, should tell you something. Anyways,
Oh no.
yeah, so definitely do power level for all your things. Also, it doesn't help that half the narrative missions, they go on power level.
Yeah, and like, I kind of think that they ought to, because you're kind of setting up a like, you're telling a story.
Yeah, and the other thing, too, is, like, you're going to take what looks cool.
Yeah.
Like, that's really what you want in the narrative missions. And as much as, like, it's fun to sit on the bus and be like, oh, man, I gotta shave, like, a plasma pistol here so I can fit an extra dude and stuff. It's like, that's not what you want to do when you're like, okay, so what... Because, like, this is supposed to be... What did the second company of Ultramarines have as this exact composition for this battle? Like,
Yeah,
that's what you're going for.
it's not the... it's not, I'm trying to get another dude in my list. It's
Yeah.
I'm trying to get, like, Brother Merton, this, like...
I just spent 12 hours converting this dude to be, like, standing over the corpses of his enemies. I mean, he's armed with a chainsword and a combi and a stormbolter, but, you know, I want to use him. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. But that's definitely what it needs to be.
Yeah. So, Nick, did you want to take us through another alternate way to play?
Yeah, so we talk about this a lot. In fact, I spent 25 minutes of this podcast talking about this. But Horus Heresy, or 30K, or Horacy, or whatever you want to call it,
Horacy.
is a very popular alternative to 40K, and I think the popularity of Heresy really came out of 7th edition with a lot of the issues of balance. A lot of people say that Heresy is only balanced because it's Marines on Marines, and they are correct. But the 30K rule set in Forge World has done a fantastic job of giving every Space Marine Legion, because this is set during the Heresy, a very distinct flavor that when you play different legions, you don't feel like you're playing the same army.
Yeah. Well,
You really don't. Like, when I play Paul, it's nothing like when I play Phil or Connor, or even when Paul switches his list around. He's like, I'm not running this Rite of War, I'm running this Rite of War. It's completely different. It's Marine-based. The Hogtown guys have done a really good job of making armies that go both ways, 40K and 30K. So it's always fun to see those armies work in both game systems. It's really big. We've got a really good group of guys in Hogtown right now. Trying to get James. James, you got to start your Dark Mechanicum army.
Yeah, when the book comes out and after the wedding. Two very important things.
The book's out.
Well,
No. Like, the Dark Mechanicum are supposed to be the next book.
It's out. You just run the same Mechanicum units with...
No, like, the rumor is that the next book that's also going to do Dark Angels and Blood Angels?
I don't think so. I think it's just going to be like, Dark Mechanicum, this happens when their robots go crazy. That's another thing I forgot. Robots can go crazy in Horus Heresy. I didn't talk to my opponent about that. It's fine. It doesn't matter.
Call him now.
Yeah. This is the time for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's we've talked about it a lot on the podcast, so there's no need to really
Well,
talk
one thing I
about it
will
more.
say about it is someone who doesn't play Horsey, but, like, sees a lot of them.
You don't play Horsey?
No. Well, again, I'm going to start the Dark Mechanicum.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Be the best army ever.
Yeah.
Stop it.
It's going to be fantastic. I'm going to get my opponent to pay for it. Anyways.
Stop it.
The important thing is, like, honestly, the models look beautiful. And, like, I think that one of the reasons why it's so balanced is because everyone going into it, they're going into it to be like, I've read so much about the past of this chapter. Like, I know exactly, okay, this was who was at the battle of whatever. I'm going to do them. Right?
Yeah.
Like, you get a lot of people who are like, they order the models based on what it looks like.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's like when you started mentioning that the Ultramarines player had Rubio. I was like, yeah, but he wasn't a librarian. Like, he wasn't using his psychic powers while he was with the Ultramarines.
He was a knight errant.
Yeah.
On this list.
That's the thing. So, as an Ultramarine, he wasn't using psychic powers. He joined Melchador's Lost Boys, and
Rubio. But yeah, no, like every single like horsey army is definitely like you can tell that the people are starting from the narrative and then sort of figuring out their list after, which is why some people still use breachers.
Breachers, I hate breachers.
Oh.
I hate breachers. I hate them.
Okay.
They're just the worst. They just wreck my army.
can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, they break a lot of your like mechanics.
Yes, they do, and that's there's very few units in 30K that are useless.
Yeah.
Assault Marines, awesome.
Actually, Assault Marines are the best troops in the game.
Now they are with the multi-bombing back because you can have 10 guys with multi-bombs.
Multi-bombing,
destroy
the points reduction they got last year. Just they're the best.
Yeah, they're great. Well, Cacophony are the best troops units, but
I will flip this table. I will flip this table. I will burn this place to the ground. I will take Greggy with me, and we will live a life
on the run.
Yeah.
They'll get a cottage by the sea and open a small bed and breakfast. It'll be beautiful.
Yeah.
So there's two other rule sets that stem out of Horus Heresy. The first one I want to talk about is Centurion. So Centurion's a really fun sort of thing that I've learned about recently that you can do with Heresy. And what Centurion tries to do is it really tries to recreate the feeling of a lot of the battles from the Horus Heresy books. So anything that isn't infantry has a 0 to 1 on it.
Ooh.
And you can't take a lot of tanks. So Dreadnoughts, Leviathan... No. Leviathans have a 0 to 1. You can take as many Dreadnoughts as you want. But you're trying to build a list that is majority infantry. And you're still playing at 2,000 point levels. So you're looking at like 50, 60, 70 Marines on the table fighting other units, other Marine armies.
That's cool.
I can't play it. I've got...
Not with that attitude.
I got 30 Cacophony and 2 Dreadnoughts.
Yeah, throw some cultists in there. You'll be good to go.
Exactly. Cultists are the answer to everything. For
Last Cannon Heavy Support Squad. Auto Cannon Heavy Support Squad.
Just ally in some Death Watch.
Plasma... It's not 30K.
You're being the worst right now. Stop it. You're a terrible guest. You're not coming back.
So that's...
Sound like my mom.
So that's one way to play. And then the other one is my personal favorite. Paul and I, this is how we became like good friends as opposed to just casual acquaintances, is Zone Mortalis.
Woo!
Yeah, so...
Zone Mortalis is basically every fight that happens in Aliens.
Yeah.
You're in tunnels, you're in corridors, it's tightly packed, and it represents, like, we're on a spaceship, we're in an underground complex, we're in a building. We're fighting in a building. That's the most concise way I can bring it up.
Yeah.
It's fun, it's fast. Those games take 45 minutes.
Started off as 40K.
It really did,
Just
but Zone Mortalis games are like done by turn 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Like you,
they're brutal because like the thing is the fallback in it was just awful, right?
Yeah. I love it.
No, as in like it was awful for your troops. It was great, but
so there's some rules in Zone Mortalis, for example.
Amazing.
Yeah, we'll talk about the 7th edition because right now the only real access to the rules we have is. James will get into this in a second. You be quiet for now. Is the 7th edition one. So anything that has the template special rule gains the shred special rule, which is reroll wounds, which is fantastic.
Yeah,
I love it.
If a falling back unit moves within 1 inch of a friendly unit, that unit has to take a leadership test or it falls back. And believe me, that can cascade really quickly.
It's such a cool like image of just a bunch of guys like
where you
impressive bodies.
Yeah, and just people being like, nope, I'm out. Like, I hate this. I hate it so much.
So the really neat thing was back before Orcs had their 7th edition codex, they still were using the 4th edition codex, which had the old mob rule in it. Yeah, which was amazing in Zone Mortalis because then it would be like it was mobbing up.
Yeah,
because your orcs would fall back from it, and then they meet like this giant mob, and the giant mob was like, "Nuh-uh."
That feels orky.
It was so cool.
That will be an orc stratagem.
Yeah.
It's an Imperial Guard stratagem.
Yeah,
It
so
will be an orc stratagem.
Yeah.
hopefully it's just an orc rule. You know?
I hope so. So Zone Mortalis is a lot of fun. Like City Fight, we talked about stratagems. Stratagems can really come into an effect. Also, special rules.
The random effects that happen to the ship.
Yeah, so you can play it as if it's a ship or an underground bunker coming under orbital bombardment. But my favorite part is when you are like, it's the cold void. So you're just playing a game in no atmosphere. So any weapon that has strength 4 or above gains the rending special rule. If a jump infantry unit moves a certain distance, then they have a chance. Any dangerous terrain test they take just means they fly off into space.
Blast weapons can blow people off the surface.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. Our club, Hogtown, has a Zone Mortalis table. We got to get back into playing those games.
Really got to tell the Shadow War guys about that table.
Oh, yeah.
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 We haven't been using it.
But we've done a couple campaigns.
Yeah.
Using the Zone Mortalis stuff. It's a lot of fun. It's quick. It's brutal.
Have you guys done the thing where you do Battlefleet Gothic and then every single boarding action is a Zone Mortalis game?
Connor and I did that.
Yeah?
It was a lot of fun.
How long did it take?
It was like a 4-hour day.
Yeah.
Because we were like, hey, my flagship launches a boarding assault on your flagship. Let's go set up the Zone Mortalis table.
Yeah. No, the problem is like by the 5th one, you're like,
we did one. We said only when our flagship launches a boarding action on our opponent's flagship.
okay, so you did it the smart way.
Yeah. Because like not every single one. Are you kidding me?
No.
Absolutely not. Because you don't care. You
No,
don't care.
it's-
Like goons fight.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, do I have a week and I want to hate myself?
Yeah.
Like, you know.
But there's some cool stuff you could do for sure.
Yeah.
I love Zone Mortalis. I'd like to try some 8th edition stuff. Even in 7th edition, when we were just building tables using the Zone Mortalis stuff, it really gives a cool feel. You're like, these walls have infinite height.
Yep.
No barrage weapons. No line of sight. You are...
So the really cool thing in Zone Mortalis is that you can still have vehicles. It doesn't specifically prohibit it, but they can't move along the corridors. So a really cool thing is you do attack this vehicle bay.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
That's a fun
Yeah.
one. But there's been so many cinematic elements to Zone Mortalis, for example. One of the cool rules is when Overwatch is conducted in Zone Mortalis.
You take an initiative test.
What's initiative?
Well, in 30K, that matters. I don't know what you would do how you would do that in...
40, you just can't do it.
I just say add 1 to Overwatch rules.
Yeah. Or like on a... Yeah, anyways, we'll figure that out later. But you take an initiative test, and if you pass it, you're firing your Overwatch at full ballistic skill, because everyone's like just a bundle of nerves.
You can't miss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then... oh man, what was the other one I was talking about?
There was stuff about stray shots puncturing the hull, too, though.
I remember it.
Yeah, well, they don't do that in the...
Oh,
in 30K, sorry, buddy.
that's okay.
But no, I remember that.
Yeah, because it's a great last-ditch effort where, like, if you have one guy with a las cannon and there's people assaulting him, guess what you do?
Airlock.
Yeah.
Ad hoc airlock.
It's great.
I had something, but I forgot it.
Well, flamers. Flamers are the thing that you also want to take because they add shred to their rules.
Yeah. Oh, no, I was just talking about cinematic stuff and all the cool stuff where you're just like, this is awesome. This unit's falling back, and then it falls back. And...
Well, just the rule that, like, a unit can't go there if its base size doesn't fit.
Yeah,
that's what it
that
was.
helps.
So I was playing a game against Paul when we first built the table, and I had his last unit of veteran... No, they must have been tactical marines.
Yeah.
In one room, and I had a dreadnought that couldn't fit into that room, so that dreadnought was just like trying to like reach to the door, and then would fire a meltagun shot into there every turn. It was just funny to see like a whole bunch of tactical marines just being like, "No,
Is it still there?
Yeah.
You go check."
There's just a dreadnought clawing at the door. And doors.
Yep.
Yeah.
We have the actual Zone Mortalis doors on our table. I love those things.
Mm-hmm.
The fact, like, treat them like Star Trek doors, where it's just like, yeah, if you move into them, they're open, but if they're units outside of 1 inch, they're closed and they block line of sight. The defender can lock them. You can have it so the defender is the only one who can move through them.
You can shoot them and blow them up.
Yeah.
You can charge them and blow them up.
You can do that with all the walls if you're feeling really crazy.
No.
No, you
Absolutely
can,
not.
but
Yeah.
don't do it.
We're not.
Yeah. So, James, why don't you tell us about Shadow War?
Right, so Shadow War Armageddon. Connor, wake up, you're in a coma. That game's a dead game, but it's a great game. It's basically a stopgap until Necromunda comes out. Like, you can definitely tell it was very much the old guard at GW trying to use all the plastic kits that already existed. It's straight up second edition rules.
Whoa.
Like, it's way back there. The combats are one of those things where it's like, it's really good that it's one-on-one, because you can never do this with a squad. Yeah, no, it's a lot of
And
fun.
like, so what are the things that you couldn't do with a squad though?
Alright, so the way that combat works is like you actually resolve it one-on-one, where you have opposed dice rolls, which is a lot of fun because it makes each combat feel a lot more dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
So the way it works is that what you do so everything's the same as far as like shooting works the same, movement works the same, except everyone has a move value, which everyone's used to now because of 8th, but regardless. The big difference is assaults. Like, that's the huge difference in phases. So again, if you've played 7th edition, you should pick this. You can pick this up. I would strongly suggest it, despite the fact it's a dead game.
Stop saying that.
It really is. But like, yeah, no, you can pick it up super easy. The only thing is assaults. The way it works is that first off, you charge during your movement phase, which is really good because it forces you to do a lot of choices about like, you're not going to equip a shooting unit with a close combat weapon just in case.
Yeah.
Like, it's definitely going to be, you are for close combat. But you charge in, there's no Overwatch. And the way that assault works is that you roll a number of dice equal to your number of attacks. And then your opponent also does that. You add your weapon skill, you add a couple other bonuses, and see who scored higher.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so it's good because it's dynamic. Because you're, instead of orcs charging in and then all dying because they have stupid initiative, like,
It's yeah.
The other thing too is you have to play with your new terrain. Like, a lot of people say, like, the rules are such that you don't have to, but you have to,
Okay.
because there's rules for people falling off cliffs, and it's great.
I love the idea.
I watched the mini Wargaming Shadow War Armageddon campaign,
Yeah,
and watching somebody fall 4 levels was the best. It was like, they fall. Oh, they failed an initiative test. They fall another level.
yep.
Oh, they survived. Oh, they failed another initiative test. They
Yeah.
fall the next level.
And you just picture this guy like, whoa, oh man, and then just like rolling over. It's great.
Just pinwheeling the entire time.
And he just lands at the
Look.
bottom. He's like, I'm okay. And then someone's just like, BAM! Shoots him in the head.
So I got that MDF terrain, and we set it up on the demon table as a mine, and it works amazing.
I saw that.
That looks
Yeah.
really cool.
Except the problem is that, like, because you have these 10-inch drops, and after 10 inches it becomes a strength 10 hit, and orcs in heavy armor have initiative 1.
That'll do it.
Yeah, so they get shot, and my guys were just falling into the infinite abyss. It was great. It was so good. Like, I was charging. Raph just had like this one great. It was super cinematic. Like, there was this one Grey Knight with a side cannon, right?
Mm-hmm.
And across the bridge were just like 10 orcs barreling at him. And he's like, "Well, I guess I better do this." Shoots the first guy, falls off a cliff. Shoots the second guy, falls off. It was beautiful. Like, I was losing the guys left, right, and center, and loved every second.
And like, I think that's something with these narrative games that you can really drive home. Like, oh, all of my guys died. It was awesome.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too is that, like, okay, in 40k, it's like, all right, I fail a bunch of armor tests, and it's like, okay, I guess they're all dead. Whereas this one, it's like, no, each death tells a story. Like, it's very, like, it feels cool too, because like you're doing opposed rolls, so you can picture your guys like, okay, the guy with the chainsword's like going like crazy, and then the big chopper guy's like, no, and just one swoop down. Like,
Yeah.
it feels neat.
And you're really getting this idea of like by how much someone is defeating someone.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
whether it's
by a
just
lot.
like, you know, oh, this sergeant just did not even care about these line troops versus like he just barely did it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Aragorn versus the big orc with the hand on the face.
Yeah, the Urukai thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lurtz is his name in the production notes. If you...
sure, whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, that guy.
And in the Lord of the Rings game that Games Workshop produced.
Yeah, they did a great job with that.
Yeah,
Again, I want to point out that the army of Sauron and Saruman is all-inclusive and welcomes all races and all classes, not just white people from Middle-earth.
All right, now that you're done, comrade. No, I really feel like Shadow War is definitely like Aragorn versus Lurtz, yeah, and then 40k is definitely all the other deaths that are happening in the background. Like, it feels cool to watch from a bird's eye view, but you know. Anyways, but yeah, no, waiting for Necromunda because the leaks for the rules for Necromunda are very much. Aww. Anyways, the leaks for Necromunda, it's very much like they took the best parts of Shadow War and then they took the best parts of 8th.
Nice.
So there's no strength versus toughness. There's no.
Man, those models look good. I don't know if it's like the studio paint job, but it's crazy how good these models look.
Well, the big thing about it is all new models.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, because I mean, like you look at anything that they're released, they always have to have that one model that's left over from the '90s that like they're trying their best to paint it, but you know,
Yeah, but like the style is like even a notch above the regular.
Yeah, it really
Yeah.
is.
40k.
Oh yeah. But yeah,
No, I'm looking forward to Necromunda
yeah, and they've already said that they're going to come out with rules for 3D terrain. So
because I need an excuse to start a Judge Dredd army.
What?
So the other thing too is I'm holding
Like
off.
I will run an Arbites.
Yeah, I'm holding
Arbites?
off on it though because like
Arbites?
Arbites,
Arbites.
Arbites,
Yeah,
Arbites.
And that's not an Arby's.
You can call it
snack.
Arbites. Like no one's going to correct you.
I will.
Okay. Well, I mean you'll be wrong, but that's okay.
What?
Okay. Well, you'll be right, but that's okay.
Yeah, like
I'm waiting for Ratskins.
I think I would want to do. Oh god, what were the punk women?
Ashers.
Yeah,
They're
that's
coming
what-
in the starter set, and there's going to be a million of them online.
I
You'll
know.
love
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Like I'm just going to do
it. So,
a bunch of Black Flag T-shirts.
well, I was going to say, if you do start one, like, and you want some converted Harlequins for it, I'm totally down to help you out with that.
Yeah, my man.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to lay down the law on you goddamn hippies.
What?
Arbites.
Oh, right. Long hairs.
Yeah. Get a haircut.
Get a real job.
So I have two more things written down here.
Mm-hmm.
Campaigns.
Ooh.
Campaigns, I feel like everything that we spoke about, campaigns can tie that all together.
Yeah.
Okay, so one thing I will say about campaigns, and the one thing about Shadow War that also happens is that the good thing about campaigns is you don't, depending on how you do it, you don't have to worry about balance. Because if you do the campaigns where you can switch up certain parts of your army between missions, it helps with the balancing.
Well, and the campaign itself can balance.
Yeah, because you learn that, okay, this
yeah.
guy's bringing this.
Yeah.
I know exactly how to defeat it.
Yeah. Well, Paul and I played a campaign back in February, and this was a great example of it, where the missions balanced out the unbalanced aspect of like, like the attacker gets these special rules. Well, then you just make the mission that much harder for the attacker.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right?
and that's one of the things that I like with a campaign. I don't love huge effects from game to game. Like,
No.
I like more things like that's how you decide the attacker or defender, or like bonuses to who goes first. So I don't like it when
It affects the in-game stuff.
right
Makes sense.
because that way it just feels like, you know, sure, we are telling a story.
You want the game to be the game, and you want everything before the game to be like a mini game.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
But what I'm saying is, like, on a campaign, I don't want it to feel like once you lose your first one, you're
still losing.
Yeah.
you're like on the back foot the entire time. I just want
Yeah.
something like where it's like, oh, the attacker gets first turn if you lost.
Yeah.
Like, that's something that I could.
So one thing that I'm going to counter that with is from the 4th edition thing, and actually from Shadow War as well. So 4th edition used to be that after every mission in a campaign, very specifically, it had a list of bonuses you could give out to one unit in your army.
Yeah,
So that helps a lot because what happens is you show up to a campaign and the other guy has all Spartans, and you're like, well, darn it, right? And then so what you do is after the first mission, this one squad now has Tank Hunter.
Yeah.
Guess what they're doing, right? Like
Hunting
that's
tanks.
Yeah, like that's the type of thing that it used to be, and it was really in the 4th edition one. It was limited because again it's only one unit, but it's nice the fact that like if your other guy brought a really skewed list, he's done because you're going to give your guys every single mission. Your guys are going to get better and better and better at killing his skew.
And I think that's a really good point to take. Like,
I like adding a randomness to it because otherwise you could be like, guess what? This unit of las cannons now has Tank Hunter.
Yeah.
That's a little much. But if you're like for example, the 30K campaign that I'm currently designing, it's like when taking like I made a 6-item table, and it's everything from when taking morale or leadership tests, you roll 3d6 and discard the highest. That's awesome. 2, like you got +1 weapon skill, +1 ballistic skill, sniper, rending in close combat, and then finally just pick. Like a 6 is you pick the bonus. But I think having just
choosing is not
no, because then you're leading towards the unbalanced aspect of it.
Yeah, the other thing that you can do too is that if you break it up according to tables, because that was another thing you used to do. So
pick on the
you pick on this table and then
pick on a shooty table or a salty table.
Yeah, so we're going to do that for Warlord advancements.
Okay.
But not for individual units.
I love the Warlord advancements that you came up with. They were fantastic.
What book was that again? Because I'm trying to find that.
3 or 6.
Okay, yeah.
So the other thing too that's really nice too is specifically going back to Shadow War, of course.
Yeah, that's what you've been playing.
Yeah, we all
what I do.
Go back to what we know about.
So what we've been doing is basically people have been taking new stuff based on what everyone else has, and the other thing too is the group's been talking. So basically, if you have one guy we don't have it, but like if you have one guy who's a jerk, who it's like, yeah, this guy's specifically doing this exact strategy. Everyone's like, okay, time.
James
to have more
says he
flavors.
doesn't have it. That means it's him.
Oh yeah, no, it started off with me. I was definitely I was flooding the board.
Yeah.
That means everyone has got because what originally happened was orcs can take up to 20 dudes, so I took a lot of dudes, and then you read the rules. It's like the only way to increase orc leadership is to have more guys than the other guy. So we just started adding more guys, and everyone was like, "Oh, if he's doing it," so everyone's maxed out their squad now.
Okay.
Yeah.
You proud of yourself?
Yes.
Look what you did.
It's so much better
You
now.
broke the meta.
You're bad. You're bad, and you should feel bad.
Well, no, it's good. Now you can have so many more casualties.
Such a psychopath.
I know.
I
just want everyone to have horde armies.
I just want steel plates glossed with the blood of goons.
Again, does the enemy swim?
You're such a bad person.
I just like Soviet tactics. They work.
So, yeah, and I think we've covered the things we wanted to say about campaigns. I think the last way to like kind of bust your cycle of like I'm kind of bored of playing games this way, and we've talked about this before, but play doubles.
Yeah. Get a partner.
Yeah,
Swap that partner.
Play a free-for-all.
yeah.
4-way free-for-all.
Those
Yeah.
are so good.
There's man. That was like we did that on the open day when 8th dropped.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We played a 4-way free for all. It was just bananas.
We played it in Kill Team when we played our Kill Team game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the last,
the last
mission
mission
was
was
everyone played 4-way.
Man, that Kill Team event was super fun.
I really liked
I had
it.
a blast.
I would go back and play Kill Team.
Yep.
All right, well, I don't want to run it because I want to play in it this time. But
Okay.
that was the biggest problem.
Well, I mean, we can just play a Kill Team game.
Okay,
But
fine.
so, are there any things that we want to like add or
Mirror
really
matches?
call out? Mirror match? You keep saying mirror match.
Well, I mean, like again, it's the exact opposite of narrative.
yeah.
Yeah, like if you want to go the exact opposite, you play the frontline gaming mission mirror match against someone who has your exact army.
We've talked about that a lot on the podcast as far as the competitive stuff goes, and
Yeah.
that is a legitimate other way to play. Like,
Yeah. Well, no,
because
because
those
like, for me,
missions remove a lot of the balance issues.
Yeah. Well, for me personally, like the alternate way to play for me is to go competitive.
Yeah,
That's true.
Yeah, and like honestly, that's a good thing to bring up. Like, if you do play a lot of narrative missions, or you do play a lot of like,
I've never played an ITC mission.
yeah, like if you are playing a lot of very casual games, like try it out, tool it up.
Yeah, well, it might be different from just like because right now every mission is like I'm going to charge my guys at you and hope for the best.
I mean,
because
he
it looks cool.
says he doesn't play competitively. He ran the Super Scorcher before Simon did.
Yeah, but okay. The reason why I ran the Super Scorcher was I read it and it said you can have a bigger flamer on a bigger vehicle.
That's also really good.
Well, yeah, I realized that after. Because no, I have 4 Wartrack Scorches right now. They're terrible, but they look cool.
I know.
That's all I want, man. Bigger flamers on bigger trucks. It's a fire truck.
Do you have any orcs with fire helmets on?
Not yet, but that's a great idea.
Right?
And instead of shooting water, they shoot flamethrowers.
Well, yes.
Yeah, that's
the
a fire
joke.
truck.
That's the joke we've been
I
making
know.
for a second.
I get it. Yeah, you get me. You pick up what I'm putting down.
Yeah. Nick just showed up, I guess.
I found the advancement table. Okay, are you happy?
Well,
Point
no,
blank
because you're
Nicky.
looking during recording.
What? So that's it for our main topic. Do we have an idea for fun time?
And we're back, and we're going to take you guys through a real quick fun time.
Fun time.
All right.
So
that's-
James had a great idea.
Also, can we just take a second to talk about James' singing voice?
I don't know. Can we take a second to talk about the fact that Connor should really wake up out of his coma? Anyways, yeah. So fun time. We're going to talk a little bit about modeling, and we're going to talk about specifically modeling for your campaign.
Yeah.
Stop going so far away from the microphone, James.
I know, I'm going to have to tweak so much volume on this one.
I'm okay with that. It sounds like it's work for you. So
Where did this start?
that's job security.
Who was it? Was it you or me? I feel like it was one of us.
I think it was just a shoulder pad on my Contemptor Dreadnought that started it. After starting my Imperial Fist army, I put just one random shoulder pad covered in a little bit of dirt on a base, and I painted it purple, obviously.
Yeah.
And that was how I started getting a narrative into my bases. Is this the sort of thing you're talking about?
That's 100% what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. So what did you do?
I've got my Demon Prince has an Imperial Fist helmet hanging at his waist, with the chains through the eye sockets. And then I think, Eidolon is modeled on a Iron Hands Dorito shoulder.
So are you going to escalate?
Well,
We got both called out
oh yeah.
by Adam and Simon.
So his gargantuan squig-op. There's 2 helmets, and they're yellow and purple. And like I just saw it, I was like, "What? What is this?"
Chaz has done a fantastic job. I don't know why he picked you, but Chaz has maybe just had an Imperial Fist decal.
Well,
lying around.
he asked for it from me.
Oh, God. So one of Chaz's dreadnoughts is stepping on like a cracked, crushed rhino door that's yellow with the Imperial Fist logo on it.
Yeah, so I like that. That's a really easy way. You don't have to like put like taken heads of like aliens and stuff, but you could.
The Demon Prince has a Necron head and an Imperial Fist head on the same chain.
It's a cool chain. Like, so I know that you've done this in your orc army to the nth degree.
Yeah, because like everything in that. Okay, so the whole point of that orc army when I started it was I wanted to have something looted from every other army. It's close.
Yeah, you're
Actually, it's there unless you count first founding chapters. Anyways, yeah.
And I do.
Okay, well then it's close. All right. Jesus. But yeah, no, like little things like that. My favorite thing about that was seen in the 4th ed rulebook, which is the one I really started with. They showed things like campaigns. What you'd do is you'd start with a rhino, and then you'd add a Tyranid skull because your opponent was Tyranids. And then later you'd add battle damage because you lost the next mission, and so on and so forth. There's just like little things like that. So like if you start off with your base is unfinished, or like, just
Plain.
bare, yeah, and then you happen to play someone who happens to play a bunch of really cheesy units that are just awful and everyone hates, and you start putting, the shoulder pads on your base. And,
Yeah.
Then they start doing the same thing. And...
Well, in a Zone Mortalis game, I had one tactical marine just hold up a bunch of... I think they were noise marines in combat.
Probably, because noise marines aren't very good.
Yeah, or not, cacophony, sorry.
Yeah.
And, he just is tanking so many wounds. Eventually he dies. But then, on the Imperial Fist decal sheet from Forge World, there are these little rooks, little castles that represent successful defensive actions. I just whacked one of those on him.
There you go. See,
It's
little things.
campaign badges.
Yeah, and again, these are little things that if you play a campaign where you're only playing one game a week, think about it.
Yeah.
Just,
Have some fun.
yeah.
And that's a really cool way to direct your hobby time.
It's also a really cool way to go revisit a model you've already finished.
I think that's a really good idea. This is a hobby-based hobby. That sounded way more profound in my head.
And just, take a couple, it'll sound again.
Yeah, but this is hobby-based. It is crafty if you want to get that way. So take that time and
Well, that's really where the two intersect.
Exactly.
Hobby and hobby?
Yeah, exactly. Where the hobby meets the hobby.
You ever been to
and
Young
becomes
and
a
Young
hobby.
in Toronto? Where Young and Young meet?
Is there?
Yeah. Because there's a Young Street and a Young Boulevard.
I found Santa Monica Boulevard in Toronto. It's over by Wilson Station. It's a really bad street.
Oh, I know.
Anyways.
So we're off topic. And I think, that's an idea. If you play a campaign, take some inspiration from your games played.
Yeah. Also talk to your opponent. Be like, hey, do you got an extra head? It's for a friend. Yeah.
Not a friend of yours, but...
And then if you really want to get at it, start painting the head exactly like the sergeant of the squad that they just killed. That's a lot of fun.
And I personally view it as a badge of honor that 3 or 4 people in our gaming group have purple trophies on their bases.
One of my Mega Knobs has a chain fist that's purple. Just so you know.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to do that again. On some Hellblaster bases.
Yeah.
Your Hellblasters that did nothing against my...
They do
purple
nothing
people.
consistently. Those are garbage models.
Actually, you know what you should do then? Do models of the previous Hellblasters. The ones that they've taken the weapons from.
We're back!
Yeah.
Doing it. Anyways, I think that's us for tonight, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, James.
Thanks for having me.
Anytime.
Yeah, for my first and last time, it's great.
Oh, yeah, no, you're never coming back.
Yeah.
Not when you're bringing a jar of pee.
Like a monkey in a rocket on his way back home. Okay. Scratching his head upon a milk crate throne.